don't even know they exist.
Yeah.
Well, after Signs, now almost everyone knows they exist, or the civilized world. You know, now you run into people, crop circles, and they go, crop circles, what's that? And you go, remember that movie Signs? Oh, those! Well, that planted the awareness that there's a phenomenon, and at least that movie didn't say they were being made by people. Now, they did, you know, give the indication of this kind of, you know, typical science fiction horror stuff.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, little milestones. Well, here, let's get back to Stephen Hawking. Little milestone. He says that it's real, that there is an engagement with us and otherness.
Yes.
Well, hello.
Mm-hmm.
That was good.
Right.
Now, the nature of the engagement, that was, oh, Stephen, why did you say that? but the fact that now we're thinking, oh, there's something going on. Now we have something to talk about.
Well, look at the Vatican.
If they are good or bad or whatever. So, little steps, you know.
That's right. I mean, look at the Vatican coming out with their information about the acceptance of the idea of an extraterrestrial presence being space brothers and not outside the realm of God and religion, but being an extension of that. So the world is coming full circle in a sense in this. It's just right now they seem... I always think about Wernher von Braun when I think about the state of the way the media is painting pictures on extraterrestrials right now, with Stephen Hawking saying they're malevolent, with the Independence Day and these movies like Signs painting this negative image. You know, when Steven Spielberg created Close Encounters of the Third Kind and then E.T. came out later, it was a malevolent type of existence, visiting Earth, and then it switched. And I think of Wernher von Braun because he said at one point that the reason that conflict is created sometimes is to create fear, because fear propels the machine that propels, you know, the money, and you know, war and death creates an income and capital. And he said that and at that point, right, it was communists, and then it became, you know, eventually where we are now in Iran and Iraq and a few things in between there, the Bay of Pigs, and he said, but at some point, the next big unification will be fear based on an enemy from outside the Earth. And here we are, it seems, at a point where the media is painting nothing more than the idea of a malevolent species, yet acknowledging the existence of something else there. So I know exactly what you're saying. I want to get back here to the movie. Here's a quick... Oh, just a second. Before I get back into the movie, I want to mention something while we're on this kind of negative train with Hawking and his silly thoughts. I want to get off the negative train because I don't like being here. But just quickly, what is the deal with Yahoo coming out with their Doug and Dave story? This is the link that you sent me when I was speaking to you. What is the deal with that?
It's another wonderful thing that happened, which, as we're saying, maybe there's a shift going on. Maybe, you know, we are kind of coming into a smarter place.
Yeah.
So there's Yahoo on its front page. A week ago, was it? I think
it's about 3 weeks now, I think. Yeah.
Front page video, 2-minute video, sponsored by Toyota. They have a little spot on there that, you know, they put up these videos.
That makes more sense.
The crop circle one. And this absolutely ridiculous 2 minutes of nonsense about how the people make them and how, you know, just taking away all the mystery that really is there. We don't know these answers. Well, they knew the answers, which was ridiculous.
I know.
But the good, and you look at it, you go, oh, how could they do that? But then the good news was the response. That was shocking to me.
Right.
Over 2,000 people all getting pissed off about that video. And, you know, heretofore, when anything crop circle related, and probably UFO, but I'll stick to crop circles because I know that better. Crop circles. When you get on forums and what have you, and science forums, physics forums, right, and crop circles come up, ridicule is in the air, and it's predominant. And, why are you all, you know, you foolish folks, the people make them all, don't be ridiculous, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
People is the story now. And the movies do aliens, but people say people. And so, and then there'll be a lone defender who'll come along. I mean, it's just, you could just count on it. oh, you people don't know anything. The research has been done. There's been science done, peer-reviewed papers attesting to the fact that we can't explain these, and then 20 barrages, and then another defender.
Yeah.
Well, this was the opposite.
Yeah.
And virtually everybody, you had to look for somebody saying, oh, your people are nonsense, it's all being done by people.
Yeah.
They were irate at this video. I tell you, that was one of the most heartwarming experiences. I wrote that in the blog. This was such a heartwarming experience to discover that the public was so predominantly aware that there was a real phenomenon here and there was a real mystery here. Terrifically wonderful.
Yeah.
If you get on my blog, I called it Yahoo, the post I put up. You can read about that. You can see the responses. And then I got more responses to that post than I've ever gotten. I think I have 142 of them on the blog.
Wow.
And those were the ones who actually wrote in the comments section when they were reading it on the blog. A lot of people frequently just email me, and it doesn't go on the blog. And I got just as many emails. I was inundated by people very sympathetic to what I had written about, how sympathetic people were to this, to the phenomenon in the face of this ridiculous video.
I know.
I actually tried to make, if anybody out there has a pipeline to Toyota, I actually tried to get their attention to the fact that they should do something about a retraction. And
Right.
I did get a call finally from Yahoo, actually, asking me, what's going on here? Something that I was stirring up was getting their attention.
Excellent.
And she took my information, and I said, well, now what? I mean, what are we going to do? And so I have not heard back. I've tried to get back to them, but
Yeah, surprise,
if anybody has
surprise.
any influence with Yahoo or with Toyota, be in touch.
You're listening to the Suzanne Taylor interview on the Unified Field. Stick around after the break to listen to the rest of this interview and a whole lot more, a plethora of good paranormal stuff coming up at the tail end of the show. This is UFR.
You are listening to the Unified Field with your host, Mr. Justin Brown.
On clear nights, do you sometimes stare into the sky, wondering, what would radio be like out there in the stars? Well, listen to the Lost Cosmonauts every Monday night at 10:30 p.m. on CKDU 88.1 FM to find out. Each week, your hosts, Kirk Thompson and Zach Shave, bring you eclectic selections from throughout the musical universe. So, tune in this Monday for another exciting episode of The Lost Cosmonauts. Until then, live long and prosper.
Space is the place. Space is the place, yeah. Space is the place.
I'm David Suzuki. The average lunch or dinner travels 2,400 kilometers to get to your table. Eating local means combating global warming. The future is on your table.
Eat your way to a healthier planet. Find out how at davidsuzuki.org.
Need your local sports fix? Get it from Halifax's top sports news authority, Bill McLean, every Tuesday morning from 10:30 to 12, right here on CKDU 88.1 FM. It's the Bill McLean Sports Show. Let's go.
Spell rhythm. CKDUFM.
You are now entering the Unified Field.
Welcome back to the program. I'm your host, Mr. Justin Brown, on Atlantic Canada's only paranormal radio broadcast. And for all of you who are just tuning in to the program, we're listening to the Suzanne Taylor interview, producer and director of a couple Crop Circle movies. What on earth inside the Crop Circle mystery and specifics we're going to be talking about and beyond right here And after that, we got some brand new stuff with Adam up north on the Exopolitical Pulse, and a little bit of sci-tech news for you, as well as Calendar of the Paranormal coming there too, everybody. So stay tuned. Here is the finale section of the Suzanne Taylor interview.
And I did get a call finally from Yahoo, actually, asking me what's going on here. You know, something that I was stirring up was getting their attention.
Excellent.
And she took my information, and I said, well, now what? I mean, what are we going to do? And so I have not heard back. I've tried to get back to them, but
surprise.
Any influence with Yahoo or with Toyota? Be in touch.
Yeah. We're all noticing a serious pattern here that's been laid out pretty thick in black and white by researchers like you and Stan Friedman, Bud Hopkins, and the late great John Mack, and other political scientists and forward thinkers like Daniel Pinchbeck, for instance. That if you look at these skeptics, I like to call them the Flat Earth Society. I also like to call them the corporations. I also like to call them the puppet masters.
Okay, you can have all those.
Yeah. So it's the pattern is this: the corporate interests are feeding the fog. They're trying to create a fog, a smokescreen, to keep us all inside the oily wheel, to keep us from these fundamental truths that question the system. And I mean, that's obvious now to everyone. So this is a really big unraveling story. I had a conversation like this with Stan Friedman when I spoke to him in May about the idea of disclosure, and how, although it would be nice for the laymen who have no understanding that there's another world going on outside their cable box 9 to 5 factory job, eating boxed processed foods 7 days a week life. And disclosure would be fine for them at a certain level, right? Because Stan is always a proponent of, now he's not for disclosing everything, which is fine. I'm sure there's national security issues there. But the point I'm getting at here is that it seems like, I'm going to say new guard, like Jesse Randolph says in UFR-Ep Radio, the new guard, the new generations and forward-thinking people like you and I and others out there, knows that the truth is all around us. We just have to be aware of it. And we're not putting our eggs in the baskets of these liars, quote unquote, because I don't even think half of these people know they're lying, because all they follow is the dollar, and it has no bearing in real life. And so disclosure for us, for a lot of us now coming up, it doesn't matter, Susan, because we know what's going down to a level, and we understand the truth that's unraveling before us. And it's almost like we've separated. Like before it was the separation of church and state, now it's a separation of church from government. I mean, people from government. So there's an interesting little pattern happening, too. Corporations feed the fog.
I have a few things to say in response to that.
Go ahead.
If you will let me.
Yeah.
First of all, I just want to tell you that my current house guest, who arrived last night from Australia and who stays with me whenever he's in L.A., is Stephen Bassett.
Wow.
He's the real big cheese of the whole disclosure movement. He runs ParadigmResearch.com, and they produce the X Conference every year, which shows my film at the last, not this one they just had, but the one before that. So Stephen and I are real good friends, and I'm really plugged into all that's going on. He's a political lobbyist. He's an official lobbyist for disclosure.
He does good work.
Which is kind of an unusual thing. I think he's the only one.
Right.
So yes. This is one front to be working on and he puts out all kinds of ways, fax the government, blah blah, campaigns.
Yep.
Another thing I wanted to say was that I'd forgotten to mention this, and I don't know, something you said just reminded me. That talk of John Mack's, that wonderful talk we were talking about before, is actually one of the bonus material pieces that you get if you buy my DVD on the sale site that you were referring to, some of the material on there. It's cropcirclemovie.com. Mm-hmm. We've created a special sale with, this is your inducement to buy this DVD site. The irresistible offer to buy. So there's 16 gifts. One of them is Max Talk, and a reduced price. So everybody who's interested in buying, go to cropcirclemovie.com. But now I really want to talk about what you talked about corporations. Back to what the point you were making, which is very articulate and intelligent.
Thank you.
There's something else to think about. With the evil corporations, yes. The corporations are running the world, yes. They're all out for profit, yes. Who are the corporations?